Don't ignore this. Because what I'm about to say is something they hide better than anything else. On the outside, they look strong, unbothered, in control, like nothing affects them anymore. If you saw them right now, you'd probably think, they've moved on. They don't care. They're doing just fine without me. But that's not the truth. That's just the version of themselves they show the world. Because behind that calm face, behind that controlled energy, there's a mind that won't stop going back to you. I act strong, but you still control my mind. And that's the part they'll never admit out loud. They've mastered the art of hiding it. They know how to distract themselves, how to stay busy, how to avoid anything that reminds them of you. But no matter how much they try, you still find your way in, randomly, unexpectedly, powerfully. It could be something small, a song, a place, a certain time of the day, and suddenly, you're there, in their thoughts, in their energy, in their space, and it throws them off. Because they don't like feeling this way. They don't like the idea that someone still has this kind of influence over them. So what do? They suppress it. They push it down. They act like it doesn't exist. They tell themselves, I'm over it. I don't care anymore. It's in the past. But their mind doesn't listen. Because the truth is, they think about you more than they should, more than they expected, more than they're comfortable admitting. And it frustrates them, because they don't understand why you still have this effect on them, why they can't just switch it off, why no matter how strong they act, their mind keeps choosing you. And here's what's really happening beneath the surface. It's not control in the way they think. You're not forcing anything. You're not doing anything. It's the connection, the depth of what you shared, the imprint you left on them. Because when someone experiences something real, something deep, something rare, their mind doesn't just forget it. It replays it. It revisits it. It tries to understand it. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. They're replaying moments, conversations, feelings, trying to figure out, what was that? Why did it feel so different? Why can't I let it go? And every time they go back there, they get pulled in deeper, even if they don't want to, even if they fight it, even if they pretend it's not happening. It is. And you might feel it too. That sudden mental connection. That moment where you think about them, for no reason. That energy shift that feels too real to ignore. That's not one-sided. That's shared. Because while they're thinking about you, you're picking up on it. And that's why it feels so intense sometimes. But here's the part they struggle with the most: control. They want control over their mind, over their emotions, over this entire situation. But you're the one thing they can't control. And that bothers them more than they'll ever admit. Because it forces them to face something deeper, that what they feel for you is real, not surface level, not temporary, not something they can just replace or forget. And that realization breaks their strong image. So they hold on to it even tighter. They act even more distant, even more composed, even more unaffected. But inside, it's the opposite. Inside, they're conflicted, pulled in two directions. The version of themselves that wants to stay in control, and the part of them that keeps going back to you. And right now, that second part is getting stronger. You're becoming harder to ignore, harder to push away, harder to silence. And that's where things start to shift. Because there comes a point where pretending stops working, where acting strong isn't enough anymore, where the mind gets tired of fighting itself. And when that happens, walls start to come down, slowly, quietly, but surely. And that's when you'll notice the difference. Maybe through small actions, maybe through subtle signs, maybe through unexpected contact. Because when someone can't control their thoughts about you anymore, eventually, those thoughts turn into actions. But listen carefully. Don't let this pull you out of your own power. Don't start chasing just because you feel their energy. Don't go backwards into old patterns. Because while they're learning to lose control, you're meant to stay grounded, to stay aware, to stay in control of yourself. Because that's what balances this connection. That's what creates movement. So if you've been feeling like they're still connected to you mentally, like they can't fully let you go, like their energy keeps reaching you, you're not wrong. Because they act strong on the outside, but inside, you still live in their mind. More than they want, more than they expected, and definitely, more than they can control. And the more they try to control it, the more it slips. That's the frustrating part for them. Because they're used to being in charge of their emotions, used to deciding what matters and what doesn't, used to moving on when something ends. But with you, none of that worked. And it still isn't working. They've tried logic, tried telling themselves all the reasons why this shouldn't matter anymore, why they should let go, why they should move forward without looking back. But every time they do that, their mind brings you back again. Not gently, but intensely. Almost like a reminder they didn't ask for, but can't ignore. And over time, this has started to change them. Because now they're not just thinking about you, they're questioning themselves, questioning their decisions, their actions, the way they handled everything between you. They go back to certain moments, and see them differently now. Things they once ignored, now stand out. Things they once brushed off, now feel important. And slowly, regret starts to build. Not loud, not obvious, but quiet, deep, and constant. The kind of regret that sits in the background, and doesn't go away. And that's what's really breaking their strong image. Because strength, for them, used to mean not caring, not feeling too much, not getting attached, not losing control. But you changed that, without even trying. You made them feel something real. And now, they can't go back to who they were before, no matter how much they try to act like they can. And that's where the shift becomes unavoidable. Because once someone realizes that they're not as in control as they thought, they have two choices: keep pretending, or face the truth. And right now, they're standing right in between those two choices. Still acting strong on the outside, but slowly breaking that illusion on the inside. And the more time passes, the harder it becomes to keep pretending. Because their mind doesn't give them peace anymore. It keeps bringing you back, in different ways. Through memories, through emotions, through moments that feel too real to ignore. And eventually, it reaches a point where they can't just sit with it anymore. Where thinking about you isn't enough. Where feeling this connection starts to demand action. That's when things begin to change externally, not just internally. Because thoughts turn into urges, urges turn into decisions, and decisions turn into movement. So if you've been feeling like their energy is getting stronger, like they're thinking about you more intensely, like something is building beneath the surface, you're picking up on something real. Because they're losing the control they once had over this connection, and you are at the center of it. But again, this isn't about you losing yourself in that energy. It's the opposite. This is your moment to stay steady, to stay grounded, to stay in your own power while everything shifts on their side. Because the more stable you are, the more it forces them to face their own instability, their own truth. And their truth right now is simple. No matter how strong they act, no matter how much they try to hide it, no matter how much they pretend they're in control, their mind keeps choosing you, over and over again. And at some point, they won't be able to hide that anymore.